Yes, we will. Well, oh man, that is fantastic. All right. Looks like I am getting a little bit slow down here. Shouldn't have talked bad about Big Papa. Let us do our. Yep. All right. Hold on a second. Let us do our Stony Progressive takedown today, guys. Let's yeah, right. We're gonna do the Stony Progressive takedown, and then we're gonna hit David Packman a little bit here. And yeah, I don't social media a whole lot, as I say. So anybody who's out there, go ahead and throw this on social media. Let's see if we can get a conversation started. But I'm gonna do the Stony Progressive takedown, and then we're gonna jump into some David Packman, and I got an AOC clip from Revolutionary Blackout Network. So we're only about a third of the way through here, guys. Let's do our government secret Stony takedown. I did not know much about this lady, and well, that's the wrong one, and that's not a bad thing. So Lauren Boebert, she is currently the 3rd Congressional District Representative for Colorado. She is in the Republican Party. You think of Colorado as a pretty open-minded area, but it actually has a decent amount of Republicans in the district. So representing, she is actually from Florida, and when you look at the person here, she looks like a right-wing Floridian. You only have to live in the state for 5 years to run for Congress. You don't actually. Most of them can get away with loopholes of such to actually stay in their whatever district they want to run, and they will find ways around things, as I say, often and always. She is currently running. She's currently on the Committee for Natural Resources and the committee for the House Committee on the Budgets. The budget is a very powerful committee, and usually somebody on the Budget Committee has some very big dollars behind them. She is only a first term, and this next term she has a lot of Democrats primarying each other. There's 2 people going against her, and she won her district mildly narrowly, 51 to 45, with the Libertarians taking 2.5 in the Union Party, which if anybody knows what that is, go ahead and throw that out there. I haven't heard of the Union Party before. I'm not sure if that's a statewide thing or nationwide. And with that year, she did take the incumbent. She went in there and took over the incumbent. The area was already red, but she went in there and ran for it anyway. That means, yes, you can primary somebody. Just because you're going to be a Democrat doesn't mean you don't, like, oh, there's a Democrat in the seat already, I guess I can never run. No, you're supposed to primary people. You're supposed to push them and see if their public policy matches the votes. She did it. She ran. She took it. So that is her first vote, first seat. Now she is running for re-election. Once she gets re-election, she gets lifetime benefits, and that doesn't necessarily mean a good thing. So we'll check out Open Secrets, and Lauren Boebert got some money, of course. Yeah, I'll take that back. So the House Freedom Fund, again, I'm going to remind you guys, the House Freedom Fund, that is a Republican mega millionaire fund that's mostly they do for first-time elections. They won't do it a second cycle. But she raised $6.5 million for a congressional fund. She's raised $6.5 million, spent $4.5 million. Now, usually $2 to $4 million for a Congress seat is plenty. So she raised a ton of money. And again, that House Freedom Fund is usually definitely connected with high-end Republicans giving tons of money for access. Hillcorp Energy and a real estate investment and a venture capitalist investment. So real estate, venture capitalist, and then a mega energy company and a mega congressional fund here. So that's a lot of big money in one little person. She has a big voice already. They definitely give her a voice. They prop her up so that Republican, conservative, and real estate, oil and gas, like I said, energy group, and then the leadership's PAC. That's the big money from from big Republican donors. And yeah, she raised a lot her first year. So this last election, she hasn't needed to raise so much because she's got a lot of cash left over. $2 million left over from her last run. So that is plenty to run on in her district for a re-election, going against a lot of primaries over there. And when you look at this, the U.S. Department of Treasury gave her money. Blue Cross Blue Shield, the U.S. government, like how is she getting so much money from the government is a wonderful question to ask. So yeah, insurance companies, real estate companies, energy companies, and super PACs. Sounds like good, clean, unattached money. You know she's going to represent the people. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And she lives in Colorado. So we think of Colorado, everybody there's pretty much got to be to legal marijuana by this point because they're in Colorado, right? Like you would have to be legal, but you'd have to be for legal marijuana if you're going to be in Colorado. Well, let's look at her record here. This is pretty great. She is not for ending cannabis prohibition federally. She's not for expunging past cannabis convictions. So that means she's okay with people in her state being in jail for pot 20 years ago when it's been legal for 15. Like that's what she's okay with. She does not want to reinvest in communities with that money. She's okay with states to legalize the adult use and okay with states to legalize medical use. But my big F you to everyone is always, she's not okay with VA doctors recommending cannabis for the VA patients. How are you going to say you're for vets if you're not okay with this legislation? That is not okay. That is not acceptable. And not allowing cannabis businesses to use banks in the state of Colorado. Guess what? You're screwing yourself on legitimate money, on legitimate taxes, on like, what are you doing? You're trying to hurt capitalism. You're supposed to be pro-capitalism. You're a Republican. Oh, okay. So that was that one. So I have never seen this person speak. I saw the first 3 seconds of this about 7 or 8 times, and I've not actually watched a full one through. So let us experience what this is, what money has to say.
Congresswoman Lauren Boebert here. For the last year, it has been such an honor to represent each and every one of you in Colorado's 3rd Congressional District. I ran for office to preserve our God-given liberties and freedom.
I wonder if we could ask her if she actually knows where that district is, because she probably lives somewhere else.
And deliver real results. Today, I want to update you on what we were able to accomplish together for the 3rd District in 2021. First, it has been a priority for myself and my amazing team to meet with you, hear from you, and whenever we can, go to bat for you. In that effort, we've worked over 655 cases for constituents as they've encountered issues with federal agencies and secured more than $400,000 in federal benefits to which they were entitled. If you or someone you know is having an issue with the VA, Social Security Administration,
she's bragging that she helps people get their benefits. I thought Republicans were supposed to be like, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Don't take money from the government. People who take money from the government need to get their shit together. Like, is she seriously a Republican bragging how she's helped her constituents get money from the government? Like, I'm not against it. I'm just intrigued by a Republican bragging about getting money from the government for her constituents. Like, that's
IRS, or other federal agencies, please contact my office. We are here to help you. I also know I can't represent you if I don't know what's on your mind. That's why we've had over 460 meetings with constituents and 62 mobile office hours. Accessibility to our services is important. So I'd encourage you to go to my website, boebert.house.gov, and sign up to get news updates from my office. We send out a weekly email with our mobile office hours, as well as a weekly recap on how I'm serving you. I've also been delivering on some other important victories for rural Colorado. I led the Colorado federal delegation in securing emergency assistance to get I-70 repaired and reopened following this year's catastrophic mudslides. I secured $13 million for the U.S. Forest Service to address bark beetle infestations that have ravaged Colorado and contributed to catastrophic wildfires. I secured $10 million for the Indian Irrigation Fund for the benefit of the Southern Ute Tribe's Pine River Indian Irrigation Project. I secured an important win for 6 counties in the San Luis Valley by ensuring data from their new radar system is incorporated into the National Weather Service system. For over a year, bureaucrats prevented the $1.8 million spent by local communities for a new radar system from being implemented and utilized. We fixed that. I introduced a bill and led a pressure campaign that resulted in the Biden regime dropping its plan to give illegal immigrants separated at the border $450,000 checks. I worked with my colleagues to fix and pass the National Defense Authorization Act. That meant removing red flag laws, removing provisions requiring women to register for the Selective Service, removing massive land grabs in Colorado.
Just bragging about money she got for her state. Like, come on, you're supposed to be Republican. Small government. That sounds fun. I know we just saw this, so it's gonna keep improving. Love those advertisements.
Recently, Republican Representative Lauren Boebert managed to insult an entire group of Jewish visitors to the United States Capitol building who were there to visit a member of Congress to commemorate the anniversary of the end of the Iran hostage crisis. Here's what happened according to these reports, and of course according to the individuals there, and of course Lauren Boebert doesn't deny that this happened. She actually admitted it happened. These individuals that were wearing yarmulkes, there was a rabbi there, so you could tell these people were Jewish. They're waiting for the elevator with the member of Congress, and apparently there was a couple other people out there as well. Elevator doors open, Lauren Boebert steps out, looks the people head to toe, and that's the telling part, looks them up and down, and then asks, "Are you here doing reconnaissance?" And then smirks and walks away.
What?
Are you here doing reconnaissance? Now, my interpretation of that is that she looked these people up and down, thought maybe they look a little, I guess, terroristy, and then made the comment. That is how I interpret that. And guess what? I'm not the only one. These visitors were left confused. The rabbi that was a part of a group said, I'm not sure to be offended or not. I was very confused. People are very sensitive. They weren't quite sure what to make of this whole situation. What the hell is she talking about? And Lauren Boebert came out and issued a statement on it. And she said, "I saw a large group and made a joke. Sadly, when Democrats see the same, they demonize my family for a year straight. I'm too short to see anyone's yarmulkes." That's the excuse you're going with? You too short to see them? You looked them head to toe. And that's why I made a point to point that out, because that is listed in these reports. And here's what she's saying. She made a joke. Okay, let's examine that. Obviously, the joke would be the reports that came out last year that said Boebert may have given a tour of the Capitol days before the Capitol riot, people doing recon missions. So that, I guess, would be the joke. Now, however, that was over a year ago. You mean to tell me, Lauren, you've been sitting on that joke for a year, just waiting for a group of people you don't recognize to be waiting there at the elevator when you walk off? You just had to get that timing just perfectly right in order to make that joke? In all the time you've been in the Capitol in the last 12 months, not once have you gotten off the elevator and there's been people there for you to make that joke. Not once. You're on those elevators several times a day. And this just happened to be the very first time you ran into a situation to tell your funny ha-ha joke? Yeah, that's bullcrap. That's 100% bullcrap.
You would never do that to guests then. You would never do that to randoms if that was supposed to be a joke. This lady sounds horrible. She was dry as can be talking. She was bragging about money spent when you're a Republican not spending money, but you're supposed to. How do you circle that square? How do you check that box? Being a Republican and bragging about money. I got money for my people. I got money for my state. I got money for this. I got money for that. Small government. Go small government.
Not to mention what undermines your claim of this just being a joke. You looked them head to toe. You examined them. You profiled them. And then you made your comment. Now, I do believe that she made the comment based on the reports of her doing the same thing last year. I do believe she was attempting for this to be a joke. But I do also believe that she did it to a group of people who don't look like her because she thought that would be funnier. Because she thought maybe because they look different than me, maybe it'll land a little better. And then she tries to defend it saying, well, if it was me and the Democrats would make fun of me and my family for a whole year. No, we do that because you're a terrible human being. Absolutely scum of the earth. That is what we're dealing with Lauren Boebert. You profiled these people and you made a comment, a joke, because they looked different from you. That's truly what I believe happened there.
Straight cringe, Joe. Straight cringe. That's horrible. Like, how do you even... Again, I mean, she's bought and paid for by big Republican names, hidden away by PACs and funds and stuff like that. So they want her in there. They want her in there bad. And if she's that kind of person, that's exactly who they want. They want that kind of person in there. She came in under the Trump umbrella. So with that Trump umbrella,